Welcome once again everybody to what can possibly be the last game of the evening. It is the second game of the series for the GameShow Invitational sponsored by Asus, eBattle, Plantronics, SP, as well as some couple of others I believe. But it is Charmander, the Infernal Dragon, going up against 4Clover and Leprechaun. So should be a great game. 4Clover first game though, it was rather even up until like the 10-minute mark or so, but 4Clover took one fight, took another and just kept on taking them pretty much. This time around though, maybe we're gonna have some kind of a different draft from Charmander helping them come back. In any case, we are HeflaTV, your English coverage. I'm Couchor, once again gonna be joined by GrandisV. Do you think Charmander have a chance up against 4Clover?
I think they do, for sure, although that first game looked really unfortunate for them. Charmander had a lot of pressure on them to get the ball rolling in their favor that game and to actually win fights. And once they lost one, in that situation, you need to take an engagement next, right? You need to look for something when you have heroes that are stolen, like this Undying Spirit Breaker Core Jakiro thing going on inside their draft. Once they got the Blink Dagger on the Brewmaster, they needed to fight every time they had that ulti cooldown. And I think that kind of is what bit them in the end, as 4Clover were very well prepared to deal with that. And the defensive play was on point. Once they got cut out and once they weren't able to get off their split, things went off the rails. I think that this is workaroundable inside the draft, and Charmander can come back into it. But yeah, very dominating performance by 4Clover in game number one. Rubik is going to be the opening for this draft for Charmander.
I have to say I didn't expect the Rubik to be first pick, but 4Clover, Throw, Visage combination. I really did expect the Beastmaster to be picked up for 4Clover rather than one of the two heroes that they went for instead. But it's definitely a strong combination, especially now that the familiars are buffed up as well in this patch. But Charmander, Queen of Pain now for themselves. So they also get some pretty solid heroes. Rubik, if you can steal those familiars, it's going to be nice. Unless, of course, you die and, well, the familiars die with you anyway. But, man, Drow, Visage, it has always been kind of a strong combination, but it is definitely stronger this patch than it used to be.
For sure. You snowball very hard off of kills, and Joe Ranger and Visage are very good at getting kills. The amount of damage that they bring to the table throughout the game is absurd. Early on, you have Soul Assumption to fall back on in lane to just push Joe Ranger over the edge of getting those kills after a lot of chip damage, and they end the game very quickly. This is a scary opener for Charmander, I want to say. Even though 4CL have put their cards on the table, you pretty much know what they're going to be doing. Are Charmander prepared to deal with it is the question, and I'm not sure the answer to that is yes. At the moment, 4CL, if they can execute like they did in game number one, we might be in for another quick one.
So what is the best way in dealing with this kind of a strat now? I suppose just having heroes that can jump the Draw Ranger is a start at least. So maybe a Clockwork for themselves as well. A Centaur was already banned. Definitely makes sense as a ban, because otherwise Draw Ranger, it's so easy to just assassinate people by just kind of kiting them, not allowing them to escape with the Frost Arrows. Whereas the Stampede would still allow them to just get away, but do you go for the Clockwork to like pick up a Phantom Assassin as a carry now? Maybe a Slark?
I think you kind of have to fight fire with fire. There's no way that you can really tank through the damage that 4CL are running with. So you kind of do need a hero to just jump up and assassinate the Draw Ranger to put a big dent in the damage output that 4Clover are going to have throughout this game. So at the moment, the Phantom Assassin and Slark look like good carries for Charmander to be considering, but I think that their offlaner is maybe even a little bit more important. Centaur, as you said, would have been amazing for them, especially if we got to see Aghanim Scepter for him. During that duration, it's kind of like a poor man's Guardian Angel, which also might be in consideration for Charmander if they want to go for an Omni Knight. That wouldn't be the worst. Guardian Angel is very good against 4CL's lineup at the moment.
It is, but there one downside that it has, of course, is a rather long cooldown as well, whereas 4Clover for now, if they lose their familiars, yes, that is also a long cooldown, but other than that, they can just fight so very often just because they will have the damage output with the precision aura there. But I wouldn't mind Omni Knight either, just because it's a hero I don't see all that often, and it can be extremely strong, especially Queen of Pain with the mobility that she has. Just blink next to somebody, get that purification to follow up, just go for that kind of a burst damage bomb. But for now, it's gonna be a Zeus that they're gonna run instead.
I think this is completely fine for Charmander. It's going to give them ways to burst down the draw if they're able to get that jump. It does make their lanes a little bit weaker, potentially, if this is a support Zeus, especially. But if they I don't know, throw the Zeus mid, throw the Queen of Pain as their safe lane farm. That could be completely acceptable. But now 4CL are going to pick up some initiation for themselves. Storm Spirit backed up by Precision Ore is a force to be reckoned with, to say the least.
Man, I slowly just start preparing my adult diapers at the moment if I was Charmander, because just look at 4Clover's lineup. It's scary to say the least, in all honesty. Just all of the heroes so far can benefit from the Precision Aura. Well, maybe they do lack an offlaner, but if even a little they get the ball rolling, they're just gonna take this game completely. So Charmander, they need to make sure that the laning phase is not lost. They can still break even, but even if they break even in the laning phase, like early mid game, 4Clover should be perfectly fine with that also.
Yeah, I don't think break-even's going to cut it. I think they need ways to win their lanes and just go for laning powerhouses as the next couple of heroes. The issue with 4Clover's lineup is that if they do get off to a poor start, their heroes can struggle when playing from behind. There's only so much jungle resources that you can put into these heroes, and a lot of that's probably going to be soaked up by the Storm. And that would leave the Visage and Vengeful without getting their farm. They'd love to have Medallion and Aghanim Scepter on the Visage, or just Aghanim Scepter on the Visage and Medallion for the Venge. It's going to be a Night Stalker up for Charmander. A good pick, given the fact that they can play it very aggressively, but I'm not sure if this is going to be good enough in the lane.
Yeah, it might not be, but it's hard to say for now. It really depends on how well you take off the support rotations and whatnot as well. But last bans 4Clover, banning out a Magnus, extra lockdown against the Storm Spirit, which you can't even help against even with a BKB being activated on you. It is something, but is a Magnus, or would a Magnus have been something that you're really afraid of as well? 4Clover, Nature's Prophet. Is this an Aghanim's Nature's Prophet game to be?
I would love to see it, not because it's particularly good, but because it's, I don't know, just something I haven't seen in quite a long time. I'm not sure if I like this pickup for 4CL. It's going to leave them very reliant on the Storm Spirit having a good time in order to start fights on their own terms. So I think that's a weakness that Charmander might be able to abuse. Although Rubik in and of himself is not the greatest of roaming supports, if they get somebody with a little bit more damage to put into the Storm and punish him before he gets level 6, that could be wonderful for the team, all things considered. But that said, if Storm Spirit does get off to a good start, they're really going to have a hard time dealing with the initiation. As you said, their lockdown just isn't up to snuff. They have a Silence on Night Stalker, they have a Lift on Rubik, and an eventual Orchid from Queen of Pain, which, although good, is mostly mitigated by the fact that Storm Spirit just goes for a Yule's Scepter or picks up a BKB is pretty much unanswered. There's going to be a Life Stealer now for Charmander, and although this hero can do quite a bit if he gets off to an early start, I don't think this is the game for him. I see him getting kited around a lot.
Yeah, it might be the case, but it depends on really how much farm he can get, or rather how much space the Queen of Pain and Night Stalker can also create earlier on. The thing is though, this I think is gonna be a support Night Stalker completely here, just because Madara did play I think a support last game also, but the thing is now for 4CL, they do need BKBs, just because all of them are rather prone to just otherwise getting blown up by what CTID have.
Yeah, at the very least, on the Drow Ranger and on the Storm Spirit. For the CTID side, we're going to see Sagat playing the Lifestealer up towards top, probably farming. Guankoni playing on the Zeus, Bogdown on the Rubik, Madeira on the Night Stalker, as I said, probably roaming support, and Sand and GG well played on the Queen of Pain.
As for the side of 4Clover and Leprechaun, we're gonna have Vanscore on the Vengeful Spirit, leaving PCC playing the Drow Ranger, Yol on the Visage once again. No, not once again, it was... Oh yes, once again, I think so. In any case, Wagamama is on the Storm Spirit in the mid lane, and Sexy Bambo will be the last one to head towards the off lane as the Nature's Prophet.
Alrighty then, now that the lanes are pretty much revealed, or at the very least we can guess at them, we'll just have to see how these shake down, or how they actually work out for either side. Large rotation down towards bottom, coming out from Charmander with the majority of their heroes, although they are a little bit late coming out of the gate and don't have a smoke on their person. So I don't think they're going to catch out a kill here at the very least.
Well, yeah, they have wards, so they may just go in, block the pull camp or something. Especially if you do plan to just run an aggressive trial and you need for the pull camp to be blocked out. At the moment though, is this even an aggressive try? And if this is Queen of Pain aggressive tri lane?
Very interesting. You're going to find a lift onto Yule, followed with the Void and body blocks. This Visage is so darn slow and will be smacked down by Bogdan. So we'll hold that thought for a second as Charmander do find a good start to this game. Visage getting caught out alone. He's such a squishy hero with less than par magic resist and actually minus armor to begin with. It's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, just -1% physical resistance, man. That doesn't feel good at all for you. But we already have Vanscore rotating in so damn aggressively. Maybe not the best angle to just initiate from. Bottom lane though, Drow Ranger gonna struggle. There's the telekinesis, Void to follow as well. They might lose another hero straight out here. Shadow Strike to slow Drow Ranger down even further, and with a few more attacks, they are gonna get that kill. I'm not too sure if Vanscore just sitting around in the mid lane is gonna be worth it like this.
If he gets this courier snipe, it is. But it's almost entirely reliant on him getting this courier. Right now, it's moving at 350 movement speed. He's going to need 2 attacks, it seems, to get that kill. And he should be able to get this if they're not paying attention. He's going to move into position, 1 right click, and with boots, that's going to be the second. That's bottled down. So the rotation from Vanscore is worth it in a vacuum, but this tri-lane is working so wonderfully for Charmander, and it kind of needs to. That's the start that they wanted and the start that they need.
It still does give a huge boost, at least to the mid lane from Wagamama, because not only did they kill the courier, it was also a bottle on it. So Zeus, this is his last clarity, and for another 2 minutes, he's gonna be pretty much dry on mana unless he finds a regen room for himself. Bottom lane, another Void onto BZZ, telekinesis to follow, and Yol can't really help out at all. It feels like it was the other way around, although GG well played does drop low, but with a healing salve it's gonna be fine, and they are diving because they had the creep wave to tank it.
Not an aggressive tri-lane that you necessarily expect, but it's working so very well for them. A couple months ago, if you told somebody that Nightstalker and Queen of Pain would be laning together in a tri-lane, I don't think anybody would believe you. GG well played is going to end up walking this one off, although Bogdan tanks a tower shot and is dropped down to below half. They can't follow up and get that kill. Vengeful Spirit, Drow, and Visage, although a potent aggressive lane, playing on the defensive with these heroes is pretty weak, especially when Avenge was spending so much of her early time looking for that bottle snipe. Across the map, it's still alright for Clovers, but Charmander are getting off to a pretty roaring start, although their lifestealer is suffering just solo against the Nature's Prophet.
Yeah, if this all had just started as a proper like tri versus tri lane, it would probably be fine for Clover. But of course it didn't now mid lane though. They get the stun onto Quonk, so it should be a kill I think with the overload to slow him down. A few more attacks, although Vanscore finally gets rid of the tower aggro, so is gonna survive you and gets a bottle charge into him, and oh, they wanted to go for Bogdan, that double damage helping out greatly. But Wagamama just not close enough, no ball lightning yet of course, because it is only just sub 3 minutes in.
So at the moment, things are still picking up, and now a TP in. No. Never mind, it's Sexy Bambo up towards top. He has his tree summoned, taking a lot of damage from the Lifestealer. Can he turn this one around? The Lifesteal is a little too much, but now kited around, sprouted out. He's going to Quelling Blade through the trees. Can Sexy Bambo get this one? He doesn't have a TP for 40. He needs a little bit of body blocking. Can he get it? A little bit of damage from the trees. He survives on 19 HP. Lifestealer probably is going to live here. Eats through with tangos and is going to survive. They get the Sprout Vision, I believe, onto the Lifestealer, but still he's alive. Is going to get body blocked a little bit, but is going to survive with more than enough HP to live to lifesteal another day.
I think it was a little bit of indecisiveness by Sexy Bambo as well, because I don't think he was running all the time. It was like, I'm gonna go for one more attack. It's like, oh, it's so close. Okay, I need to get one more, but he wasn't just using all of the time to just catch up to the hero, I think. But still, getting some pretty decent farm, 16 so far. Although he has to be a little bit careful with open woods being level 2. He might die if he gets caught again.
Yeah, and that would be a really big boon for Charmander, but I think it relies on rotations. By himself, Lifestealer gets close, but not quite, but with just a little bit of extra disable, I think they can do it. It's nighttime, and Bogdan and Madeira are looking for somebody over on the sidelines, but can't find it quite yet. If they want to go for this, they're going to have to straight up tower dive. The biggest issue for me for Charmander's lineup is that Wagamama is completely untouched and is getting a lot of farm, got a kill, and now is going to look up towards top lane as he might be able to find a very easy kill onto the Lifestealer. He's inside lane, he's showing out to the catapult, and I think Wagga can just zip onto this one if Lifestealer sticks around. He does, he doesn't even need to zip. He'll start with the overload, although the rage is going to delay a little bit of this damage. I think Wagga still gets this kill with a little help from Bambo for sure. And, well, that wasn't even needed. He's just there for the AoE experience and gold. Down towards bottom lane, lift onto Yol. They'll pull him back in. Magic Missile onto Bogdan. It's going to delay a little bit as they throw in the Soul Assumption. Bogdan's probably going to lose his life, or is he survives on very low HP. Madeira tanking a tower. It's a double kill for him, but does lose his life in return as BZZ is going to get some TP support from Wagga. That's going to force the blink out, by the Queen of Pain, and after the dust settles, it's a 2-for-2 across the map.
Sexy Momo even has the ultimate now, but I think he hit level 6 just after the fight almost kind of ran its course. With that Nature's Wrath would have been an easy kill onto Rubik as well, I think. Maybe even force CTID back a little bit earlier, but still, Storm Spirit, like I said, is kind of a big problem for Charmander's side because he is getting farm, a lot of it, and does have a Soul Ring now as well on top of a Magic Wand. So his mana issues definitely won't be there, so he can just jump, well, not all day long, but oh, Sexy Memo in some trouble possibly, because we do have the Night Stalker coming in, and just that Void and the Silence should be enough to prevent Sexy Memo from TPing out.
He's going to go over to the sidelines, try to find himself a little nook, and, well, at the time being he does. He's going to Sprout TP, no vision inside those trees. He didn't need through the right one. He's going to make it home free. A close escape for Sexy Bambo, but he does survive. Take a look at the net worth chart, however, well, actually hold that. It's just a fight brewing in mid. TP in from the Rubik, going to repel Wagga, but even though 4 Clover are behind when it comes to kills, their farm on the Storm, Nature's Prophet, and Dro is still at acceptable levels, and in all honesty, better than their counterparts on the enemy side, especially the Lifestealer. At the moment, he effectively only has boots. You'd really like to have a Midas or Phase Orb of Venom, something along those lines on top of it right now.
You most certainly would, and he may still go for the Hand of Midas to just get a little bit of late game insurance, just because it's not going that well. I mean, the laning phase started explosively for them. They got a lot of kills, but now BZZ has recovered quite a bit, up to 19 last hits, level 5 as well. Of course, once you get level 6, your whole team is going to be doing that much more damage all of a sudden. But even has free Wraith Band, so really cost-effective items for him now. Madara does run into Yol, but by himself, don't think he's going to be able to get the kill. He's going to go for some harass nonetheless, but he's going to be forced to back out in the end as BZZ gets jumped, slowed down, and taken out as well. Double damage helping there, but the stun in return, Wagamama comes in. It should be a counter kill, maybe even 2, if not more. Wagamama silence, but has the stun once the silence ends, and it is going to be a kill. Storm Spirit gets himself a double, although Thunder Guster with the lightning bolt. Man, that burst not to be underestimated.
Couldn't dodge that one out with the ball lightning. TP's in from Nature's Prophet, but it's a double kill for Quonk. They'll turn around. The Vengeful Spirit is doing quite a bit of damage, and they're going to lose their Zeus inside the trees, but in return, the Venge is going to die to Bogdan. With a little bit of Frost Arrows slow, it's going to be a 3 for 3 in the bottom lane as double kills all around. Nature's Prophet's going to pick one up for the 4 Clovers side. He's committing pretty heavily into the Null Talisman Phase Boots build, and it's paying off right now. 7 to 10. These games have been action-packed, and well, I can't say that I'm disappointed. They're going to go again for BZZ under his tier 1, turns for a silence, catches out 2, but only 1 point in Frost Arrows. It's going to mean that he can't actually return and get that kill, although GGWall plays dropping low. Can they kill the Queen of Pain after the factor? Blink is off, it's cooled down in just a couple of seconds, turns around for the Sonic Wave. Bambo gets the kill. Sprout, TP, can he actually make it out with Magic Missile cover? He's going to turn around for the kill. Too greedy there. It's going to end up getting voided to the face and killed. Double kill for Vanscore, double kill for Madera. It's 9 to 12 now.
I love those 2 games. I mean, at least the start of both games have been extremely aggressive, and it's just a treat to watch, but in the end it is hard to say who's getting just a clear upper hand. It is most likely just Wagamama, although he did die once after all. Susto mid lane, he is up to 22 last hits, whereas Storm Spirit is up to 46. That is a huge lead, and if you look at the net worth as well, Storm Spirit is leading by 1500, and wow. This Rubik is highest net worth on the dire side, although Bogdan, speaking of this Rubik, he's gonna probably lose his life. Swapped back as well, minus armor there, and down he goes.
Yeah, he is only the highest net worth because he was involved in so many kills and his rotations have been good. Up until that point, he was 2-1 and 7. Now he's 2-2 and 7, which is still respectable. But yeah, the farm coming out from the Charmander side just isn't really there. CS-wise, the Lifestealer's up on the chart, but he hasn't been involved in single kills. The fights are brewing down towards bottom. Sexy Bambo going to Sprout TP. Can they get vision inside of it? They're going to place a ward to cancel that, and that's completely worth it. They'll get the deny, however. Vengeful Spirit going to sneak that one in. Now Vanscore taking a lot of damage. He's going to lose this fight. So many trees. The Void stolen wave, and Bogdan comes in. It's a 2 for 3 trade now. My goodness, these exchanges are just so clowny. Big ball in. Stormster going to find a Bogdan, but now Wagga's very low on mana. Has a regeneration, going to pop it, but gets cancelled by a random melee creep and can't go for Bogdan kill anymore, but he has a soul ring cooling down not soon enough. Bogdan's going to live a little bit longer yet, but wow, that was a pretty crazy exchange. Sensor ward placement by the Night Stalker, if I'm not mistaken, or no, Observer ward in the middle of the lane now to kill off that Nature's Prophet.
That is clowny, exactly like you said. I'm really having like a smirk on my face from seeing that. The fight between Night Stalker and Vengeful Spirit as well, both just within a second of each other, throwing out aggressive urn charges, and Just good old Russian Dota kind of. Mid lane though, we have the swap onto Kwong, the magic missile to follow as well, but where's the follow-up? They need the silence and they get it. Vanscore should be able to survive the tower now. Unless there's a, well, never mind, no buyback, Thundercrash Wrath even available, Thundercrash Wrath on cooldown. So another kill, 14 to 14, but if you look at just the graphs, it is a 3k lead for Clover in both XP and net worth. So although the kills are even, it's just better farming or just better like prioritization maybe with those kills.
Yeah, I think so too. It is costing them a lot of farm on their Visage, but even so, Yola's going to get level 6 at a respectable time, at about 11 minutes in. Although it's not the fastest you're going to see, those birds are going to be rocking an extra 38 damage whenever the Precision War is active. Droranger's invested for a very cost-efficient agility build, and this is giving everybody so much damage. At the moment, Nature's Prophet's hitting for almost 150. They're going to look for a tower up top, can't get it, it's glyphed up, and now they catch Yol on the retreat. Not much he can do but turn for a Soul Assumption. They'll deny the tower, and get a Soul Assumption steal on their way out. Pretty big win for Charmander, or at the very least it's something to make up for the fact that they do TP a lot of heroes in.
Yeah, it's still worth it, especially now that they are up there already anyway. Might as well go for a tier 1 tower of your own. But 4C&L, they do have Yol spawning rather soon. No familiar still, but they might defend if they want to. Sexy Bamboo, of course, can easily join the fight if necessary, but never mind. Wagamama gonna make his way towards the mid lane, gonna build towards that Bloodstone of his. And we are looking at a somewhat similar situation. Of course, this is earlier and the difference isn't that high in net worth maybe, but there is only one hero that has less net worth than anybody in Charmander.
Yeah, and well, to be fair, he is the bottom net worth inside the entire game. And Waldro's going to disconnect. This is a really awkward time for it, but at the moment, 4 Clovers are going for just a trade. They end up losing the tier 1 tower up towards top to the Night Stalker, and well, Nature's Prophet's getting a tier 1 tower down towards bottom as he split pushes around. The pause is pretty obvious right now. We are currently missing our Dro, so we have to wait for BCZ to get back.
At least with this pause, I'm not too sure if it's the same on your screen, but Queen of Pain, having just used the Scream of Pain, has a really just cool aura around her now.
Oh, I can't see the particles, unfortunately, so she's just kind of walking in place.
It's a little bit like if you have Lotus Orb on you, but just like 4 times larger in AoE or something. But this probably... Did the tier 1 already go down, or...? Oh yeah.
Tier 1 top did, yeah. It was killed off by...
Night Stalker.
Night Stalker.
So they got that one, but are we gonna get a return here? 16 Babo should be able to claim that tier 1 bottom as well, just because so many TPs were already used. Cliff, also on cooldown, was just used before here, so it's gonna be a tier 1 trade, but Vanscore, as well as Yol hanging around top lane, maybe hoping to just catch a straggler, or if you're Charmander, you're 5 on top anyway, you have your TPs on cooldown. Is this the point when you're like, screw it, let's go tier 2 as well?
They might, but even so, 4 Clover's pushing power, even with just the Nature's Prophet in the lane, is pretty significant. With the maxed out Nature's Call and with the bonus damage from the Dro, he's doing quite a bit. And then you also have to deal with the Storm Spirit that could come in, and they could also defend at the same time after going for that trade. So I think they probably just want to fall back. Although they do have all of their ultimates. The tier 2 tower up towards top, I'm not sure if it's risking taking that fight.
It probably is indeed, but I just found it a little bit weird at the start already that they didn't even try to defend the tier 1, although they had 4 heroes alive. Visage was also just respawning, could have TP'd in quite... Oh, never mind, maybe couldn't have TP'd in because he tried to TP out when he died. So I guess that may have been one of the reasonings there. But we are still post BCC. Well, probably gonna take a couple extra minutes just like last time. But this Vengeful Spirit though, just Vanscore has gotten a lot of gold, has been rather man mode, and thanks to having bracers plus the urn, isn't even all that squishy. Just 1100 health. Has face boots, gonna have drums soon enough as well. I have to say, this Vengeful Spirit is turning into like a semi-carry-ish build, especially with the Precision Aura helping out.
Yeah, in all honesty, she's a very high damage hero and is going to offer a lot of damage to the team with the 3 points up in the Vengeance Aura. She's higher net worth than the Zeus and Night Stalker on the enemy team, and in all honesty is pretty much on par with the Lifestealer and does more damage as long as the Dro is alive. So that's pretty scary for the Charmander side that they're just not getting any momentum. If you take a look at Vengeful Spirit's items compared to the Lifestealer, she pretty much has an urn on top of what he's currently holding in his inventory.
Okay, so looks like he completely disconnected, isn't even on the voice program, whichever one they are using. So it's a little bit sad that we don't even know if he's coming back or when he's coming back at least, but he's gonna come back eventually. It's not like he has too many options there. At least I can always hope so. The worst case that happened was there was a remake, but the load was like 11 minutes earlier than the game time or something like that. We were like 42 minutes into the game and the load was like at 30 or something. And just a mess, and in the end they just decided to play an entirely new game, and as long as that doesn't happen here, I'm fine.
Yeah, hopefully that's not the case. I really wouldn't enjoy that in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, probably. I don't think anybody would. Maybe it's hard to say because I don't think Charmander even think that they're the so-called losing team at the moment so far in this game. They just...
Well, I don't think they've lost, but they do have less momentum than they really need to, I feel.
Yeah,
So yeah, I'm not sure what their perception of the current situation is.
We'll probably just getting this tier 1 without anything stopping them. It's like, yeah, it's fine guys, we got something, but really continuing. They have one Earn charge, so they could heal up Queen of Pain to try to keep on going. They had the Sonic Wave, but this Queen of Pain only being level 7, that's also one of the downsides of running an aggressive tri-lane Queen of Pain. Just, you would like to have the max amount of burst plus the just early points into Blink as well, to have more of them just getting that low cooldown.
Yeah, the issue right now I don't think is the burst damage. I think she has about as much as she would if you threw her mid and was on the Zeus's position. But if she blinks, she's fully committed. There's no way that she can actually get back in. Yeah, I honestly have no idea what's going on with BZZ, and I would love to know, but if your issues are really this bad, you should probably look to change something.
Well, it's probably not as easy. I mean,
Oh no.
in some countries it probably is. In others, it's just not. But at the moment, if you look at the Nature's Prophet, he's like not working out, but stretching. He's like, oh goddamn, this wait is so long. Let me stretch a bit. Although I have
He's
to
doing
say,
yoga.
yeah, but his body looks weird to me. He looks a bit chubby somehow this way.
Yeah, I can see that.
In a weird way as well. It's like, it's not like he's like a fat guy or anything, but just
Okay,
feels
so
weird.
it's like a toned pec, but it's enlarged.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like, why would you do that? From some angles, it's like he should be buff, but he's not. I don't know.
I don't know.
Good
There's-
topics. Good topics.
I'm sure there's not much you can do to explain Nature's Prophet's physique. I mean, he has no nose. That also isn't helping him.
Man, Nature's Prophet used to be one of the coolest guys in Dota 1. Malfurion, best pro, best. Oh, do I see a reconnect happening?
I think I see a reconnect happening.
By the way, now that you brought out that Nature's Prophet has no nose, it's really bothering me. He's like a Ninja Turtle gone wrong or something.
Well, we'll leave that Ninja Turtle the way he is down towards bottom, pushing at tier 1 as BZZ gets back in. Everybody from Charmander is going to TP out, and they want to hunt this Nature's Prophet, so maybe they're not going to leave him alone after all. They eat through the trees. Can they cancel a TP? They'll silence him out of it, and now trying to TP proper, but the damage is there, and they're going to find themselves a free kill, and he doesn't even get the tier 1 in trade. That's pretty big for Charmander, in all honesty. They not only get the tower, but they get it without losing their own.
At least for 4CL, it's the tower not being in deny ranges, also something positive there, but really nice movements. I really thought their TPs are going to be on cooldown for a little while longer, but just had those two available, and it's all you need really, especially if it's nighttime. As a Night Stalker, it is so freaking easy to just cancel a Nature's Prophet's escape.
For sure. Well, Storm Spirit's currently sitting on a haste rune. It's about to time out and does do so. He's going to be going for a Bloodstone first, and should have that pretty shortly. 4 Clover going to lose a little bit of momentum with that Nature's Prophet death, but I don't think they're going to lose much, and it looks like Sexy Bamboo wants to farm up some of the enemy woods. at the moment. We have Mask of Madness now on the Draw Ranger. I think this build pretty much holds its potency, and especially when you're going into Roshan Pit, is about just as good, if not better. The Visage isn't there. I believe he has Medallion. No, he's working on it, but even without Medallion, they still have more than enough damage, especially if they decide to pop the Precision Aura for it. And even without it, look how fast Roshan melts. They're going to tank with BCZ and Vanscore. They'll pull the aggro over towards the bench, and Roshan is completely gone. Do Charmander have any idea? The courier is going to fly over in the sidelines. Did spot anything out? The Roshan is already down, and 4 Clovers, they get a pretty big victory there, although...
Courier snipe as well by Sexy Bambo.
Nicely done. Alrighty then, they're going to lose a tier 1 tower and bottom in trade, but for a Roshan plus courier snipe, it's completely worth it for 4 Clover. And now they can look for just tier 2 tower trades. Their tower damage is way too immense for Charmander to keep on going comfortably. Rubik's going to lead the charge as he TPs in first, maybe at a little bit of his own peril. However, Sexy Bamboo is going to TP over to the sidelines for a really awkward wraparound on the Bogdan. Forstaff is going to buy him the space, as he is one of the highest farmed heroes on his team. He does have that Forstaff available, but the tier 2 tower is dropping very, very quickly. They're going to get a zip in over in the sidelines, trying to save the Drow. It's only going to be the Aegis down at the moment as Wagga tries to assess Sonic Wave over to Vanscore. Wagga going to be dropped low. Vanscore is going to end up going down to the tick damage, although the Drow is fighting for all she's worth. She's not worth very much without that ultimate, and well, that's been disabled as she's surrounded by enemy heroes. They'll chase forward for the Storm Trees. Ball lightning over the trees will find himself a little bit of distance away from the enemy side, although Bogdan has a 4-step. The cooldown isn't there, and Wagga looks to be home free as Nature's Prophet pushes out top. It's a 2-for-1 trade. Charmander do get the better when it comes to kills, but their tier 2 towers sustain pretty much fatal damage in mid. That's deniable.
It's well, that fight started off pretty bad for 4 Clovers at least, because Throw Ranger completely got boxed in, and it being nighttime, they were so close to actually seeing the Zeus, and the Zeus would have been the one getting sandwiched, but didn't happen. Instead, just Lifestealer got the open wounds, got the initiation that way, and the follow-up was rather slow, especially because Nature's Prophet, he TP'd from the right side of the tower, from the stairs to the left side of the tower, which also meant that he couldn't even join the fight anymore afterwards, so it was probably as bad as it could have gotten, like position-wise for 4 Clover there, but even then, only losing 2 isn't that bad.
Yeah, as a Draw Ranger, if you lose your Aegis, you're probably going to lose your life after the fact, especially in such a poor situation. The map control advantage that 4 Clover would get, or rather will get when they take this tier 2, I think it's a better way to put it, is it's so low that it's going to fall one way or another, whether it's denied or not. It's going to be pretty big. Although that fight does go suboptimally, it's still fine. Invis Rune picked up by the Visage as he hunts on the backlines. He has some familiars over in the trees, although a Lifestealer isn't one he can kill. Pretty much everybody else is, and with some help from Wagga, even the Lifestealer isn't immune.
So, well, y'all still hanging about, but Storm Spirit with the Bloodstone now running around. It was a 15-minute, 40-second one, give or take. So a pretty early one. The thing is now, can he start racking up those charges, or will he lose them immediately? As Vanscore might get caught if just Charmander keep on going, but we are gonna have a Midas Shadowblade build. Are there any passives he would like to disable? I suppose Static Field, disabling that one might even be worth it. If you
for 5 seconds, if you can time that properly. You can disable Feast as well from the Lifestealer. The null field interaction I think is pretty interesting. I'm pretty sure it only disables it on the target you hit, so if he hits Rubik, it would only disable it on Rubik, but that's probably not worth it. I think this is just a Shadow Blade for split pushing, in all honesty.
Yeah, it's just nice to know that he has the possibility to upgrade if those things become an issue for them, but they're going for the push. It's pretty fast as well. They pop the Illusion Rune, but they force a Glyph, and they should be able to make it so that the tower isn't in the night range, and it's actually rather far from it even. But they are grouped up. Do they have a smoke on them? Nope. Just gonna back off as BCZ will also pick up a Shadow Blade.
Yeah, I think this is just the game plan for them. They want to split up the map as much as possible and keep Charmander on their toes. They get a tier 1 tower in mid as Yol picks up the last hit. Or tier 2 in mid as Yol does get that extra bit of gold for himself and for the team. And I think this is a pretty decent way to play, although they are investing very heavily into these Shadow Blades. I'm not sure if it's the right choice, but it's also not a bad one. It depends on the next couple minutes of the game. It's also very scary, the global ganking potential that they have with these Shadow Blades. They can pretty much be everywhere at once.
Yeah, and for that, Charmander should also just kind of try to huddle up, keep close to each other, and really assist each other as much as they can. But the one thing that I suppose 4Clover are lacking is an Orchid, which Queen of Pain does finish up now. Just because if they had the Orchid, suddenly killing Lifestealer could be so easy. But speaking of, Yol might be in some trouble if he somehow gets scouted out, although Bogdan just TPing bottom lane and he's not going to be able to defend this tower. And he's going to Fate Bolt and defend the tier 2 a little bit, but that's about it.
Yeah, that's pretty much all she wrote. In the end, Charmander are defending their towers, but maybe they won't be able to defend their heroes if they can catch vision of Conk over here over in the top tree area. Wagga does have a static remnant, but he decides not to drop it so close. I think they know something's up. No, that's the Rubik pinging out the Zeus. He's playing a dangerous game, but it looks like that's going to work out for him. He TP's down towards bottom safely. Speaking of the Orchid on Storm, it's well underway. He has the 2 Robe of the Magi's for himself. He's going to zip over and just keep on farming towards that. It's going to lessen the fact that he did slow down his Orchid timing by the Bloodstone, since he is able to farm so quickly with that item, just having so much mana to work with. 4Clovers are invading the enemy woods, whereas Charmander are doing exactly the same. Courier Snipe attempted by Nature's Prophet could go very south. He gets the Courier. Nothing was bought onto it, but probably at the cost of his own life. Shadow Blade's going to be used. He's dusted up, Orchided up, Sonic Wave, and with a little bit more damage, Sexy Bamboo should end up going down. Zeus Ultimate secures it. Whether necessary or not, they get the kill just the same. Nature's Prophet for Courier, at this point, I don't think is worth it for 4Clover.
Yeah, probably not. I'm not too sure what was meant to be purchased to that Courier. Is it like a point booster or something? Not entirely sure, but they back off. Darkness was popped as well by the Night Stalker. They want to catch up. They have the mobility, 4-step up. But wow, the turnaround Queen of Pain got blown up. Nice double silence as well. Forcing Lifestealer out a little bit too early. Didn't get the in-face damage, but Vanscore should lose his life, as does Madara. Now Vanscore telekinesed up, but Bogdan just losing his life. Wagamama a little bit out of mana. Didn't get the last overload charge, and now Frost Arrows. Is it gonna be enough? Not quite. BZ a little bit too late for the Mask of Madness.
They're going to steal the Gust coming up from the Dro, turn around, gusting the Rubik right as he comes in, turning around to get that kill. Visage Familiars just need a little bit more damage, 2 more volleys ought to do it, but they won't be able to find that. In the end, 4Clovers are going to lose a couple of their heroes, but for the most part, a fairly even trade. The space that Bamboo bought with that Courier Snipe trade for his death doesn't transition into any tier 3 tower damage, or any significant tier 3 tower damage, I should say. Over the sidelines, what are you doing there, bud?
That's okay. Not your base, bro.
That was...
There wasn't even a Courier to snipe. He wanted the Rubik. He wanted the Rubik, I think.
I don't know. That was a high-risk, low-reward play, I want to say. If it works out, you look really baller, and you do get flavor points for it, but even if it works out, it's not worth the risk of your life.
Yeah, it's most certainly not, and he's also building towards the Dragon Imps now, so I would have liked to see him just rather farm and finish that one, especially now that his Hands of Midas is also off cooldown, so just losing value from that item. That was just probably Bambo's like, oh, we're looking so good as a team, it's fine, we got this game, I can do whatever, and just suddenly dies 2 times in a row.
Well, back into this game we go. It's a Shadow Blade for the Lifestealer, so he's going to be going for that Silver Edge. The passives are disabled on the 4Clover side, or maybe a little bit more significant. I have no idea about the interaction with Gravekeeper's Cloak. I'd have to look that one up. But it does disable the Aura and the Ranger's Marksmanship. Although the Marksmanship disable is less impactful, they're going to get swapped back, but a Rage TP is going to keep him alive. No way for them to cancel that since they'd already spent Vanscore's ulti.
It was also just Vanscore swapping the Lifestealer away from the position that the Storm Spirit jumped and the Drow Ranger was going. So they didn't plan on just starting with the swap, and huge mistake really to make there. But they don't lose too much, just a little bit of mana, but Wagamama is back to full, gets a bounty rune, refills the bottle there as well. Is extremely close to the Orchid, more or less just needs the recipe gold now.
Yeah, at the moment, that's going to be a really big pickup for them. Charmander are losing quite a bit of map control as 4Clovers are able to get a lot more farm on a lot more of their heroes, especially looking at the Vengeful Spirit and the Visage even. The Visage is well on his way towards an Aghanim Scepter, even after backing off for the Medallion. It's going to come up at about what seems to be 26, 27 minutes in, which is very respectable. Charmander going to go for Roshan. This would help them a lot trying to apply pressure onto 4Clover's side reliably, but they're doing it so very slowly that 4Clovers have more than enough time to react if they can catch vision. Pings are going to come out around the pit from both sides. The Visage Familiars are going to scout this one out, and well, now it's known. 4 Clover should be able to crash this party if they decide to do so. Wagga, unfortunately, does not have the Orchid for this fight, so it's going to be a little bit harder than they might want to, and they also lose a Familiar. That's a lot of damage down the drain. Is Charmander going to continue going for it? There's a bash on the Night Stalkers that come in, both gusted up by the Rubik Sonic Wave onto BZZ. He's going to be lifted back up and bursted down. That's going to be a big blow towards their side. Soul Assumption kills off the Night Stalker. Nature's Prophet kills off another. It's a 2-for-2 trade right now as they sprout up the Life Stealer. No Quelling Blade anymore. He's stuck in there for a little bit longer. They'll swap back Bogdan. Bogdan getting focused down. It's going to be a 4-for-2 now as soon as they lose that next hero, but Sexy Bamboo dies to Sega, and somehow Bogdan survives. The Life Stealer is fighting in a losing engagement right now, and Festin steals a Tyrian. Can he run out if you're alive with his extra movement speed from the drums? It looks like he's going to be home free. Are you kidding me? Holy cow. Okay, so that's going to be a 3-for-3 after the dust settles, and a pretty close exchange. Neither team getting Roshan in the immediacy, but 4 Clovers eventually do get that Roshan kill and Aegis for Wagamama, so I think that tips the scales into their favor.
Yeah, it certainly does, and to be honest, considering how fast they removed the Draw Ranger, it was just a huge boost, or rather lack of damage for 4 Clover's side, and just a boost for Charmander to just keep on fighting. Wagamama also jumped in, and after the Ball Lightning, I think he got Orchided and just died straight after almost. So considering the Storm Spirit as well as the Drow died almost at the start of the fight, it was really just a supporting cast cleaning up for Clover there, and Nature Prophet, he was so close, so very close in getting away from the sentry range, but the last attack was just following him anyway. But Wagamama does have the Orchid now finished, but I still think they need BKBs, both him as well as the Drow.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable, but even so, Draw Ranger is sitting on a decent chunk of stats. With the 3 Wraith Bands, Power Treads, and the Silver Edge, he's sitting at about 1500 HP whenever he turns on Strike Treads, and even without them, at a respectable 1400. The damage he's pumping out is pretty significant. At the moment, I think the biggest issue that Charmander are going to run into is that they cannot keep these lanes pushed out. Their heroes don't push particularly fast, especially since Lifesteal didn't go for a Maelstrom or anything of that caliber, and now 4 Clovers have an Agnum Scepter up on the Nature's Prophet. Although not the most conventional item, I think this game, it's pretty darn good. Look at the army of Treants pushing down towards bottom. Although they can push this out since Rubik does have Static Remnant, they have to commit multiple heroes to those lanes just to deal with the trees that are created. And Sexy Bamboo can go on his merry way and push up through top. Consistently throughout this game, they're going to be forced back behind where their tier 2s once stood.
So looking at the graphs, 14,000 net worth. Once again, 4 Clover just pulling out ahead with every passing minute more or less, and they are grouped up mid lane. Sexy Bamboo of course can easily join them with the teleport ability. Regen rune for Wagamama, level 16, means a level 3 Ball Lightning. BZZ though, maybe a little bit too ballsy being in the front lines like that, but we'll back off for now.
There's a plate mail up for the Lifestealer, so that's going to help him out quite a bit inside these fights. And the Silver Edge battles, I'm not sure who that's actually going to favor in all honesty, but still 4 Clover are keeping up the aggression, or keeping up the pressure at the very least. Long zip in, they catch out one over the sidelines. Funk is going to be brought down. Can Wagamama get out alive? However, the answer to that question is not with the Aegis. He should be able to get out the second time, it seems. I believe they spent their Orchid for that first life, so he's free to just zip out home. It's an Aegis for a Zeus pickoff. I think that's worth it for 4 Clover, especially since they're getting a tier 3 tower top. The tower damage is ridiculous. Now the Lifestealer's onto the backline, trying to find a target to assassinate. He tries to go into fan score, but the damage just isn't there. They lose their Night Stalker, and now with the Soul Assumption, Chi-Chi well played is dropped so very low. He takes over a melee creep, but can't run away. Segala's going to lose his life. Swap back by Vanscore, who's on very low HP. 4 heroes down, and this is melee barracks, and probably range, and maybe even a second set. There's no buybacks on these heroes for Charmander.
This should be easy double set of racks. Of course, it might even be third if not for that one tier 2 still standing there. But there's a Ball Lightning in from Bogdan. Doesn't get silenced because the Ball Lightning's away almost immediately. But there's the silence. Soul Assumption into the Ghost Scepter, and Wagamama, well, couldn't just leave it for the Orchid to finish up. Goes in for the kill. Kwong comes, does a lot of damage with just his ultimate. But GG well played is called nonetheless. And with that, 4 Clover take it 2-0, and they deserve this win. They were just a better team.
Well, I think that's fair to say. Their execution was on point, and their drafts were very punishing. Whenever you lost a fight to both of these lineups, you lost so much map control, and that's really shown in that last engagement. Although the advantage was huge after that, beforehand, it was fairly close, and Charmander had the ability to fight back into it, but once they got up to those towers, Draw Ranger, Visage, and the whole team really just melted those structures. First time I've seen Agnum's Refresher, although I don't think Nature's Prophet even cast a Refresher on that hero. It worked out. 4 Clovers played well.
Indeed they did, but guys, this is gonna be it for the evening. I do believe the next games are gonna be on the 7th for this. I'm not entirely sure, might be the 6th as well. Let me double check right now. Oh, never mind, it is tomorrow. It's gonna be Choppa versus Power Rangers tomorrow at 15 CT with 18 CT. It's going to be Goomba versus Doveriet. So 2 more best of 3s coming out tomorrow as well here. So until then, but for now, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully you enjoyed, and if you did, be sure to check out HeflaTV for more coverage on Facebook and Twitter. HeflaTV for both. For the casters, at Couchor for me, at GrandisV for my co-caster, and of course, huge shout out to the tournament organizers, GameShow, as well as the sponsors for even making this happen. eBattle, Hitbox, Plantronics, Silicon Power, Tesoro, and of course Aces as well. So huge shout out to them. And with this, we're done for the day. A couple of songs to finish the stream, and see you tomorrow at 15 CET. CEST. Yes, summertime.